You're about to watch a video describing the Rolls of Honour in our memorial garden. In order to orientate you, I'm going to take you from the outside of the Lion and Tusk Museum and just briefly through the inside. Here we have our reception area and the CQ store. Just a brief look through the museum. Not going to dwell in all the little nooks and crannies, just to give you an idea of what we've got here, which is covered in other videos, and we intend to cover in detail in future videos. The memorial garden is in the upstairs mezzanine floor up there. Here we are coming up into the library area leading into the memorial garden. This is the area that you're going to be viewing, described in detail in relation to each of the Rolls of Honour. Turning round to the point where we came in. Hello and welcome to our memorial garden. I'll take you around starting from your left and tell you about some of the larger pieces that you can see in front of you. This is a panel of the Marandellas, now Marandera War Memorial. It records names of some of the casualties of the Bush War from the local area encompassing Marandellas, Wedza and Macheki. The original war memorial structure was unveiled and dedicated on the 19th of October 1952. It bore a roll of honour naming locals who were World War II casualties. Unfortunate foresight saw it erected in close proximity to the main highway and railway line between Salisbury and Umtali, which resulted in considerable interruption during services held there. In 1966 it was moved to its current location of the Green, which is in the centre of the business area. This bush wall panel was installed on the side of the war memorial that faces the 3.7-inch howitzer. The installation was done after 1976. Sometime after 1980, this panel was removed in order to protect it. It was recorded by the Rhodesian Army Association in the UK that the panel was entrusted to Butch Zederberg and the Rhodesian Army Association by Roy Hamer, former town councillor of Marandellas, in a ceremony on the 31st of May 2003 outside the British Commonwealth and Empire Museum in Bristol. In 2008, that museum closed amid much controversy. The panel returned to the safekeeping of the Rhodesian Army Association. It was moved to New Zealand, and on the 16th of November 2024, a rededication service was held for the panel, having been installed in its current location. This roll of honour was made by Trevor Jones. It formerly hung in the Sergeants and Warrant Officers Mess of the 4th Manicaland Battalion Rhodesia Regiment. It was removed to South Africa by Trevor around about 1980. Trevor subsequently donated it to the Rhodesian Services Association in the early 2000s. You will note the names of the 3 casualties recorded at the bottom of the Roll of Honour. Of interest would be Warrant Officer Clipston. Clippy Clipston's grandson, Braden Ennor, is an All Black and Crusader rugby player. This Roll of Honour is from the 5th Battalion Rhodesia Regiment. It is made from Rhodesian black granite and weighs about 120 kilos. In 1980, officers of the unit laid the Roll of Honour up in the Mabel Rain Club in Harare. It subsequently came under risk from members of the club, and it was removed by Arv Roth, former member of the Rhodesian SAS, to his home residence. He subsequently contacted the Rhodesian Services Association, offering it to us. We paid 2 women in Harare to crate and export it by truck to Durban, from whence it was taken by ship to New Zealand. For a number of years it stayed in the patio area of one of our members in Tauranga, where it was open to the public. Once this memorial garden was established, it was brought in here. This is the full 4th Manicaland Battalion Rhodesia Regiment Roll of Honour. Please turn round and look at the mess kit uniform on display behind you. This was donated to us by the family of the late Lieutenant Colonel Peter Brown, OLM, who passed away in Ballarat, Australia in the year 2020. Peter was the last commanding officer of 4RR. He had served with 4RR from 1959 and held just about every rank, finally accumulating with command of the unit from 1973 until disbandment in 1980. Peter wrote this about the laying up of the Roll of Honour. The life of the 4th Manicaland Battalion was ended in a very sombre ceremony on Thursday, the 23rd of October 1980, during which the colours of the battalion were laid up in the St. John's Anglican Church in Umtali, in a low-key ceremony arranged discreetly among remaining members. The laying up was arranged very subtly by the organisers in the drill hall, over the phone and by word of mouth, as we were not allowed to have a parade through town, which is what we would have preferred. Those troops that could participate were told to report in uniform to the St. John's Church at about 1700 hours on the day, and they were formed up outside and all filed into the church. The service was conducted by Father Knight, and the colours were handed over to him for safekeeping. If I remember correctly, we all went back to our various messes after the service to wet our whistles and exchange many memories. To the best of my knowledge, no further musters of 4RR were recorded after that. I did attend the Zimbabwe independence ceremony held in Chipinga in my full military uniform, but feelings were running high and one had the distinct feeling of not being wanted around anymore. That was then the end of what I know as good old 4RR. Just a note here regards the use of the word colours. Traditionally, rifle regiments do not have regimental colours. However, in Rhodesia, this was a popular term for the regimental flag. Sometime after this ceremony, the St. John's Church was desecrated one Sunday during a service by Edgar Tekeri and his thugs. Tekeri was one of Mugabe's right-hand men. The flag and the Roll of Honour disappeared. In the early 2000s, Peter Brown requested a former member of 4RR, Tony Waters, to see if he could locate the Roll of Honour. Tony visited the St. John's Church, and his inquiries led him to an elderly African caretaker of the church, who had concealed the Roll of Honour in the ceiling of the church. There was no sign of the unit flag. It must be noted that this man took extreme personal risk in order to protect the Roll of Honour, and we must be forever grateful to him. The Roll of Honour was passed to Dennis Ford, MC, who had served in the Long Range Desert Group during World War II and was Honorary Colonel of 4RR. Dennis placed it in the local Legion until it was deemed to be unsafe, and it was clandestinely removed from Zimbabwe and shipped to New Zealand. The Roll of Honour arrived in New Zealand in 2012. It was kept by Hugh and Diana Bomford in their house until 2018, when the Lion and Tusk Museum had been set up and it was installed in the memorial garden, as you see in front of you. On Thursday, the 6th of July 2023, this audio-visual display that you are watching was installed and put to use for the first time. This section of the audio reported that the unit flag could not be relocated. The very next day, a package arrived by post at the museum from England. This package had been posted over 3 months prior, and it contained a letter from Mrs. Gwyn Marshall in England and the regimental flag. Gwyn wrote, "My husband, then Colour Sergeant James Peter, known as Pete Marshall, was with the Selous Scouts and was posted to 4RR Mtali for the last few months of the war, before, during and after the election in 1980. At the fall of Rhodesia, we left to settle in South Africa, and the CO of 4RR gave the flag to my husband for safekeeping. Sorry, I can't remember his name. We both knew what it meant to keep the flag safe, and it has been in a trunk for the last 40 years. Pete did not feel it appropriate to give it to any museum, etc. in South Africa. We came back to the UK, and Pete died 5 years ago, but it is only during these past couple of years that I've been able to face sorting out his military collection. I am London born and know how important campaign flags, banners and unit colours are. They are usually laid up in cathedrals or churches here. I didn't know who to send it to, and then I saw the Lion and Tusk mentioned on Facebook. I'm very glad that you have it safe. We sincerely thank all those who have played a part in the rescue of these precious pieces of our history. Some have taken great personal risk in the process." This is the 8th Battalion Rhodesia Regiment Roll of Honour. It found its way to the UK, and in 2018, Martin Hudson offered it to the Lion and Tusk Museum. Association members Bev and Gary Mooney kindly offered to bring it back from the UK during their trip to watch the All Blacks tour. They met up with Martin, and the Roll of Honour exceeded the size and weight that had been envisaged. Their first challenge was to get back onto the tube train together with this large unwieldy package. Somebody on the train helped them put it into a storage compartment, and all went well. They got off the train back in London and needed a taxi to get back to their hotel. All the taxis in the rank were little bubble taxis. Fortunately, a larger taxi drove up just as they were wondering what to do next, so that was another piece of luck for them. The next piece of luck for them was when they arrived back in New Zealand. The Auckland Airport arrival lounge was full, to expanding out onto the tarmac almost. They joined the back of the queue expecting a long wait. Not long after joining the queue, a customs officer tapped Gary on the shoulder and he said to Gary, "I know what that is, come with me." Gary wasn't too sure about this and went with the customs officer. It turned out that the customs officer somehow knew that this was a Roll of Honour that was coming to New Zealand, and he put it through the X-ray machine and gave Gary the pass to go. So luck has followed the people who have been responsible for bringing this Roll of Honour to the Lion and Tusk Museum, and we thank them for what they've done. This frame contains items of memorial to Trooper Simon Clark. Simon was a young Kiwi from Rotorua who went out to Rhodesia in 1978. He was killed in action in the Wedza Tribal Trust Land on the 28th of August 1978. He was aged 20. Simon died in the arms of his stick leader, Trevor McElwain. Simon was a former pupil of Mount Albert Grammar in Auckland. These 4 panels here are clay on wood. They were made by Winston Hart, former member of the British South Africa Police, BSAP, who was attached to the Selous Scouts. Winston is a trained sculptor, and over a long period of time he sculpted these panels, which were subsequently used to make moulds from which bronze panels were made for the memorial of the British South Africa Police that is in the Arboretum in the United Kingdom. Winston kindly donated these panels to the Lion and Tusk Museum, where you can see them here now. This memorial bell has been made from a 25-pounder shell, along with a number of brass Rhodesian badges. The original idea was presented by Jack Maddox, a Kiwi who went out to Rhodesia and served with the fire brigade there, as well as being a reservist policeman with the British South Africa Police. Jack was kindly assisted in this project by Graham Skinner. We are grateful to all those involved. Thank you for visiting the Lion and Tusk Museum. We hope that this short video has helped you with understanding what these objects are in this memorial garden and how they came to be in New Zealand. These rolls of honour are incredibly important to the history of Rhodesia, and they are also very important to those who have friends and family recorded here. We are very grateful to all those who have facilitated their removal from places of danger, and that where they are now able to be viewed by the general public and appreciated for what they are. We thank you, and we trust that all those named here rest in peace.